Outlaw Sports is brought to you by Molson Canadian, made from Canada, and Rocky Mountain Barbecue, Alberta barbecue cuisine at its best.
Grant, I want to ask you this about NHL coaches. At what point can a coach make a difference? Now, I'm looking at two teams, and even though Toronto has faltered, what Randy Carlyle has been able to do really to make this team even a thought about making the playoffs, and you know, him coming in, and then I'm looking at the Ottawa situation. Boy, what they've done there, despite being injured, and to me, there's your coach of the year. Paul McLean is excellent and just well balanced. You know, you can get a little emotional, but you know, when you see him behind the bench, behind that mustache, you're going, "What are you thinking? What are you thinking?" And he seems pretty darn cool there. But
he does.
Yeah. So, and he seems to relate to the guys, which brings me to thinking, you know, that whole Detroit system under Mike Babcock and Ken Holland certainly perhaps rubbed off there. Then you have the situation in New York. John Tortorella, he's won before under Jay Feaster in Tampa Bay when they defeated the Flames. The media guys despise him, but he could care less about that. Fans despise him, and I wonder if the players have run a little short of their feelings toward John Tortorella in New York.
Well, your old friend, my old friend, Mike Toth said coaches are overrated. It's the players that are significant. Do you agree with our old friend Mike Toth in that theory? I've thought a lot about that in years past, and I see his point at times, but I don't see it. I disagree. I think good coaches create a positive environment to win. Yes, the players have to do it no matter what sport. They have to get the job done. But like a good teacher, like a good parent, you create that environment.
Yeah, I'm mixed on that, Grant, because I look at a situation like Washington, for example, getting rid of Boudreau, bringing in Dale Hunter. He puts in a system that they win with, right? He doesn't have all the support of all the players like Ovechkin, and then Adam Oates comes in and they falter again. So
Bruce Boudreau can't get it done in Washington, goes to Anaheim.
Exactly.
Now he has a Stanley Cup contender.
Yeah. You know, you have to have a coach. So you buy into the system. How you relate to the players is very important.
So John Tortorella is a sarcastic guy. He seems to be mean-spirited at times. Fun for sound bites on late-night sportscasts, but I think he wears thin at times.
Yes.
Here's my complaint about John Tortorella right now. You've got Rick Nash, one of the best in the world offensive players.
Yes.
Brad Richards, pretty darn good too. You're paying $7 million.
Yes.
You've got those kind of guys. Who's the other guy up there? They got the other guy up there too. So they Gabrick, exactly. Yeah. So you've got some skilled guys. Of course, Ryan Callahan's a good overall player. Sure. Skilled guys. They play a defensive system, much like Sutter. Hard work, back check, all that kind of stuff. To me, the Tortorella style doesn't fit the players he has right now. And I think that's where John Tortorella is missing the boat with the Rangers right now. You've got a skilled team. Coach that skilled team to their benefit, not to your benefit. Plus, when they got Rick Nash, they traded with Columbus Blue Jackets. They lost a lot of their depth.
Sure.
They lost Dubinsky and Anisimov. Those are two guys that can play on a second and a third line. Yes.
Yep.
And they lost Brandon Prust to Montreal as a free agent. So to me, they've lost depth players, and I don't think he's coaching the right way for the players he has now.
Now, let me ask you this, because I think in sports, you have to play to your strengths, as our good friend Mike Toth used to say. Play to your strengths. So what I mean by that...
So should they coach to their strengths?
You have to. But you got to let players play. You got to make role players play their role. If you got scores, let them free wheel a little bit.
For the most part,
yes.
For
the most part.
Yeah.
You know, the Boston Bruins are a checking team that scores. They're not a scoring team that checks, right? So that's their system, but they're still going to be able to put some pucks into the net, but they look after their end. But you still have to, like, you know, remember when Brett Hull was here, and Terry Chris always complained about him, but he's a goal scorer. Yeah. Jesus Christ, you can't, 50 goal scorers don't grow on trees.
So that's where a good coach creates that environment for those guys. So you know you've got a Brett Hull. How do you get the most out of him that gets the most out of the team overall? Yeah. Work it together somehow, as opposed to browbeating this guy. And I think that's what Tortorella is doing right now.
Yep.
You're browbeating the wrong type of guys to make it work. That's my take. And they don't have enough talent like they had years past.
Yeah, you've got teams that have their third and fourth lines, and the fourth line are your checking guys and your role players. It's no different than a goon deciding all of a sudden, you know what, I'm going to score goals this year. No, you're not, Sandy McCarthy, because you are a fighter. You're not a goal scorer.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important to keep that in mind with guys. And sometimes coaches think, no, I'm going to, and it's no different in football, Grant, offensive coordinators. We got the system. Well, hell, you've got a quarterback. You guys have a dynamite quarterback that plays better on the run. So why are you trying to make him a drop back quarterback? Same thing. You got to play to your strengths.
And you got to have the players who can carry that out. But the coach has to be realistic and see that. And I think Tortorella is missing the boat.
Do you think they'll fire him this year?
I think they will.
Yeah.
I think
if
they will.
Don't make the playoffs?
Yeah. I do.
Because you look at that roster, and right away with Nash, I said, well, who's going to touch them in the East? And now they're just holding on. I
picked them to go to the Stanley Cup Finals with the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah.
Because I thought they were that good.
Oh, God, you're an idiot.